Hi, my friends. It is time for our story time now. This week is all about reindeers. And of course, we should read the story about the most famous reindeer of all, and that is Rudolph. Now, you're going to notice this book is a little old. That's okay. When it was bought, it was 29 cents. That's how old it is. Now, this has been passed down from my mom when she was a baby to me. And as you know, it's a little torn up, but this is one of my favorite Christmas stories because it comes from my mom, okay? So the pictures, if you look, the pages are a little brown because they're a little old, but the story remains the same, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the page first and then I'll show you the picture, okay? So we're gonna go through. This is the front cover. If there was a back cover, this would be the back cover. And when you open up really carefully, because this is a really old book, this is the title page. And the story we're gonna read is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And the illustrator is Barbara Shookhazen, and she wrote the words. And the pictures are by Richard Scarry, which means he drew the pictures. Okay, so here's the title page one more time. All right, remember I'm going to read the page and then I'll show the pictures, okay? Once there was a reindeer named Rudolph who lived at the North Pole in Toyland. Rudolph was younger and smaller than the other reindeers there. They all had proud, tall antlers. Rudolph's antlers were only tiny stubs. Worst of all, Rudolph had a nose that was big and bright red, and it was so red it glowed in the dark. Poor Rudolph. He wanted to be like the other reindeer in Toyland. Oh, to have a small brown nose instead of a big, bright red one. The other reindeers made fun of Rudolph and called him names. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, they teased over and over until red tears glistened on Rudolph's large red nose. Sometimes the other reindeer made a circle around Rudolph and sang, red nose, a funny sight, big as an apple and twice as bright." They kicked up snowballs with their tiny hooves and covered Rudolph with a blanket of white, fluffy snow. Oh, they're not very nice, are they? All of the reindeer loved to play games. They played tree tag and snow slide and tumble bones. But Rudolph was never asked to play. He stood behind a pine tree and watched. He was very lonely. Rudolph couldn't play hide and seek with the rabbits. His glowing nose gave him away every time. Before Christmas Eve, Santa's elves posted a sign on the gate of Toyland. "Santa team choosing time," the sign said. All the reindeer were asked to line up at 8 o'clock in the meadow. Santa Claus was coming to choose a team that would deliver presents to every good girl and boy. The reindeer danced with excitement when they heard the news. They pranced and tossed their antlers and pawed the snowy ground with their hooves. Each reindeer hoped he would be chosen to guide Santa's sleigh. It was the greatest honor a reindeer could have. Rudolph sighed. He was ashamed to have Santa see his bright red nose, so he decided to hide. At 8 o'clock, when all the other reindeer had gone to the meadow, Rudolph hid in a toy pirate chest that the elves had built. It had a heavy wooden lid and big brass hinges. No one would find him there. In the meadow, all the reindeer in Toyland except Rudolph stood in a line. While Santa expected them, Santa chose carefully. Only the fastest, the strongest, and the best reindeer will do. "I think Dasher will be fine. He's the biggest reindeer," said Santa. "Dasher," wrote the assistant elf in a big book. "And Dancer is the strongest," said Santa, pulling the beard. "Dancer," wrote the elf. Ho, ho, ho. Let's see, continued Santa. Here's Prancer and here's Vixen. Make the smoothest landings on rooftops. Comet is the fastest and Cupid is the most sure-footed, said Santa. I pick them. And last, said Santa, I choose Donner and Blitzen. They're the best at twisting over treetops and skimming over telephone poles. The reindeer in Santa's team were very happy. They rubbed noses, they danced, and clicked their antlers together. Even the reindeer who weren't chosen were given good jobs. One was to try out electric trains, others were to cuddle Christmas kittens. The only reindeer without a job was Rudolph. He wanted to help, but he knew he would be laughed at, so he stayed hidden in the toy pirate box. At last, it was Christmas Eve, and Santa and his elves were busy packing the sleigh. I do not care if they make fun of me, said Rudolph suddenly. I want to help too. He jumped out of the box. I'll bring Santa's team a pail of nice cold water. They'll get thirsty on their long journey. The night was bitter, cold, and a terrible fog covered up the earth. Santa's elves kept bumping into each other as they hitched up the team. They could hardly see as they put on bright red harnesses and tied on each jingle bell. To make it worse, Dasher and Dancer were fighting over who was to be the lead reindeer. I was chosen first, said Dasher, stomping angrily. But you always trip over the moon, said Dancer, kicking a fallen star. Even Santa was cross. We'll never get there if you two don't stop quarreling, he said. And where is my Christmas list? Dash it all, I can't see anything in this fog. Just then, a soft red glow lit up the snow. Thank goodness, said Santa, suddenly jolly again. I found my list. Ho, 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 it must have been tucked in my belt. Who brought this fine lantern? Asked Santa. I must take it with me. Why, I can see perfectly now. It's not a lantern, said Rudolph, trembling. The light comes from my nose. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, said Santa. I'm certainly glad to see you. Your light will guide my sleigh tonight. I appoint you the head of my team and #1 reindeer in the world. Rudolph held his head high. Proudly he pranced to the front of the team. All the other reindeer bowed. Donner and Dancer helped Rudolph put on his harness, and Cupid gave him a big spring of holly berries. Then down, down, down through the clouds and over the sleepy houses, Santa and his team flew on the foggy Christmas Eve, and leading the whole way was Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. So if you see a soft glow in the sky on Christmas Eve, you can be sure that Rudolph, the most famous reindeer of all, is near. All right, I hope you enjoyed this story. Now there's going to be another video because we have 2 activities that we are going to do with this book, okay? So go move on over to those activity videos, all right? I'll see you soon. Bye.